Hello, welcome back. In our earlier session, we have seen about retrieve hello world using Springboard. So it is like web from the web from the browser we were able to retrieve the hello world. Now in this session, we will see how to prepare a JUnit test case using with the Springboard. We will see it. In olden days, writing JUnit test case for a controller is very difficult and it used to take 100 lines of coding. But nowadays with the Spring Boot, it is going to be few lines of coding. So how we are going to define is we will see it. How we can achieve JUnit for this Spring Boot application. So earlier we have prepared this is a hello world sample application and we were able to retrieve the value from one of the REST operation that is called at the rate get mapping. This is not a simple Java program. If there is no get mapping, then this is going to be a simple Java class. But here this web request is involved. So that is the reason we are able to get the details from the web response. Then we can call as a web MVC. And here this project is running based on the Spring framework also. So we can also say the architecture involved is here is a Spring MVC. So using web MVC, using Spring MVC, we need to write JUnit test case. Let us see how we can write the test case. As of now, it is running the server. So I will stop the server. Now I am going to test case. I'll prepare one package that is controller package. Now I'm going to write one test case that is hello world controller test case. So hello world test case. So we can say now this is a plain old test case, plain old Java class. So we have to define. So for which program we are going to write means for hello world controller we are going to write. So we have to define here web MVC test, and in this what we have to define is hello world. This hello world controller we have to write. Hello world controller dot class. So what this web MVC test is doing is it is going to scan the controller you have defined, and it is from the MVC infrastructure, and the test will not start until and unless you define this. So that means it will not be recognized as a unit test if we are not going to define this. So let me import from this. So auto configure.web.servlet.webmvc test, because our controller is our Java hello world controller is a web based application. So that is the reason we are going to define web MVC test. Addition to this, we have to write Mockito family related annotations. So that one is we can write extend with, and it is a Spring framework. So it is from the Spring framework family. Then we can call as a Spring extension dot class. We can define this one. So we have to import this one also. And if it is a JUnit 5, we have to define extend with. And if it is a JUnit 4, we have to define run with. Instead of extend with, we have to define the run with. So here it is taking some time to import the value. Yeah, org.jupyter.api extension. We got the extension. And Spring extension also we need to import it. and save it, and again try to import. It will take some few seconds of time. Just wait, it will come. Spring extension dot class. So spelling mistake, sorry for that. So I have to define correct spelling. Spring extension dot class. That is the reason import is taking some time. Now it will come. Still extends with or extend. Spring extension dot class. It is spring extension dot class. So this one is coming from this extension, spring extension. Now this is our Java Hello World controller is web-based browser. That is the reason MVC web MVC test we are defining. If we are not defining, it would not be recognized as a JUnit test. So for that reason we are taking, and we are working for Spring Boot. So and JUnit 5 we have to define extend with the Spring extension, because ultimately this is a Spring framework. That is the reason. Now one more also write mock MVC, because we have to write this one. We are going to define the mock service. So this mock MVC is coming from the web MVC test family only. So that is the reason we have to define, and this one is auto void. Here this is giving error. You have to import and private. This mock MVC also you can import. Mock MVC. Okay. And still warning is showing because we haven't used this value. That is the reason. Next, we are going to define public void hello world test, because we are going to write hello world only. So hello world test and test annotation. This is quite common in our regular scenario also. This is quite common, and test we need to import. I have imported it. Now we have to write, because we have used get operation from the web only we are getting. So we have used the get operation. That means a web request. This is not a simple one. This is a web request. So we have to prepare the web request. Here we have to prepare the web request. So how we can prepare web request means Spring Boot is offering a request builder. So using request builder we can prepare the request. So how we can prepare request builder and request builder. Then in this mock request builders dot. So what is the operation we have defined? A get. So here in this get, what is the operation name we have defined in controller? You can go and see, this is the operation name. So hello. So here this is the URI, web URI also we can say. So we have to define hello only. So I have defined. So request builder we need to import before that. So it will take, and what is the URI? Hello. And what kind of response we are getting in the form of JSON. So that JSON format acceptance we have to define. Accept media type dot j application underscore JSON. So this one we have to define. Then you can define. Now what we have defined is get operation. We are going to get this operation because get mapping. So get mapping we are calling get mapping. So there we are using as a get. So how we are going to get it means from the request builder. So this request builder is preparing the request. So again we have to import this request builder and Mockito request builders. It is request builder is not recognized. Let me see what is missing. Request builder. So here we have to import, and request builder is a web application designed for the sole purpose of preparing the request only. So this one also we need to get the import. It is giving some error. Mock request builders.get only. From here this is not creating an issue. Mock MVC request builders, sorry. So here request MVC builder, I guess. Yes. So this one we can define. Now we have defined. Now we have prepared the request, and what is the request operation? Get and hello. Now what is the result we are going to get it? So that result how we can get it is we have to get it from mock MVC dot. So what kind of request builder? So from the perform request builder, then what it will do is and return. It will return the value. So MVC result. It will return MVC result. So here what we have to do is MVC result. So MVC we have to import. That is the reason for this. That is the reason we defined this mock MVC. From mock MVC, it is going to get this request builder, and it will get the result. So here it is asking add throws declarations around with try catch. So we can use add throws declaration. Now result is done. So whatever the hello world is there, our value, our expectation is hello world. So our expected value we can define. Now we can define z equals. So our expected value we need to get it from here. This is the expected value. You can define. Now this result value we need to check. So what is the value? Result dot get response. We need to get the response. So we have to get the response. Then you can define the toString, or else toString it may not be considered. So because this is a content type, so we have to define get content string. So you can check get content as string. Then it is asset equals. So we have to define the static inputs, add static input for asset equals. Now here you need to understand mock MVC, why we defined mock MVC also from the web MVC test only. So mock MVC is fetching the result. Request builder is for request. Now our operation and JUnit test case is done for hello world. So here it is a, we may think that hello world is a simple only. If it is not there, this is a simple. We can instantiate and we can get the value. But we are defining as a web-based application. That is the reason we are getting the response here. Web application. So web application means definitely there is an operation, and this is a REST call. And one of the operation is a get mapping. So for that we have to define the certain procedure, web MVC, Spring MVC, all those things, and a request. This is a request operation, and request we need to prepare. And once we get the request also, we need to get the response, and that request in the form of a JSON. So it could be JSON request, it could be JSON response, and that result. So for result we are using as a MVC result. Then once we are getting, this is the final verification whether our expected output and fetched result would be matching or not. If both are matching, then we will get the correct output. So we can run now. Even though server is stopped, it will run. So JUnit test. Yes. Now you can see test is passed. Cool. So this is how we need to write the test case for Hello World. Looks like a simple program, but here web application is involved, web request is involved, and REST operation is involved, and web MVC and Spring MVC architecture is involved. That is the reason we are doing request builder, MVC result, mock MVC,